Wednesday, the 20th of February, we have news on Victor Wembanyama. Not good news. Bobby Portis. We also have some games, 9 of them coming up tonight. So a little bit to talk about. Let's get into everything. This is the Thursday pre-game show. Let's go balls deep.
I'm the type to get shit done. You the type to observe. March Madness on my speakers, but today's November 23rd. Cause I'm loud in the blunt, yeah. I don't say what I want, yeah. Probably somewhere sunny getting tan. Foreign women in the sun, yeah. That's all that I need. That's all that I need. That's all that I need. Got my brothers with me. Got my brothers with me and my mama's healthy. That's all that I need.
Welcome to the Balls Deep podcast brought to you by Fantasy Basketball International. I'm Adam King. Find me on Twitter and Blue Sky at AdamKing91. Find us on Google Podcasts, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, YouTube, anywhere and everywhere you consume your fantasy basketball content. We are also part of the Old Man Squad at Old Man Squad on Twitter. So we have 9 games. We'll get into all of that. But I woke up to, the first thing I saw was that Dan had done a Wemby only show, and I thought, well, that's not a good thing. And obviously I didn't need to dig too deeply to find out that Wemby is going to miss the rest of the season with a blood clot. So not good news. Fantasy reality. Let's start with reality. Obviously, this is not good news for him. I'm sure he is getting the best advice and all the best treatment and all sorts of things. So he's in the best spot or space for him health-wise, personally. For the Spurs, this probably changes their trajectory a little bit this season. I think they're probably going to not pack it in. I don't think they're going to be bad enough that they'll be down there with Washington and Utah. But it does raise a few questions about Chris Paul, for example. What do they do with him at the end of the season? Do they shut him down? So there's some questions. Fantasy-wise, reality-wise, this also, I believe, means that Wemby is not eligible for Defensive Player of the Year anymore, which he was probably going to win. Who wins it now? Jaren Jackson has had a very good year. I would love it if Dyson Daniels got it. I don't know whether that is going to happen. They don't typically give that award to guards, but we'll see. He'd have to be in the discussion at least, I think. From a fantasy standpoint, Wemby, you just have to drop him in redraft leagues. No point holding on to him. Dynasty, maybe it's a bit of a buy low. I'm not too concerned long-term here. Brandon Ingram had a similar issue a few years ago and obviously has not been an issue since. He's had other injury issues, but nothing to do with the blood clot. So I would think, unless we get news to the contrary, that Wemby will be fine and good to go next year once they figure this out. For this season, who are we picking up? Perfect world, it would be Charles Bassey, but he himself is out with a knee sprain. It is the same knee that he injured where he tore the ACL last year, I think. So they're going to be cautious with him. But other than Charles Bassey, they don't really have a centre. They traded Zach Collins away. Sandro Mamukelashvili is probably next cab off the rank. He's not really a centre. He's more of a power forward, but can play centre, and he's probably going to have to play centre. Jeremy Sohan gets a bump. I think they're going to use him more as a small ball centre. I think Steph Castle probably gets more minutes. Obviously, the positions don't line up, but they're going to go, as I said, go small, which will mean that Stephon Castle will play a bit more. Keldon Johnson, maybe. I'd rather those other guys over him, though. We also got news on Bobby Portis. He was suspended for 25 games for using a painkiller. I put something on Twitter about this. Look, if it's banned, fine. I get it. you shouldn't be using it. I don't know why it's banned. Everything I've read, everything I've heard is that this is a fairly mild painkiller, and there's far worse out there. For me, the bigger issue here is a 25-game suspension for something like this when, well, Miles Bridges is a perfect example, but these players are doing far worse off the court and getting a slap on the wrist. The suspensions, the punishment doesn't really fit the crime in a lot of instances, I think, in the NBA, and they're really not doing themselves any favors. They're obviously there's been a lot of publicity around the All-Star break and how bad that product was, the missed games, everything. There's just a lot of narratives at the moment that are very negative when it comes to the NBA, which I hate. This doesn't help. This is not a great look. Taking a stand against what they're calling doping, fine, but really, it's a painkiller. Anyway, fantasy, you can drop Bobby Portis. 25 games. There's only about 30 left, I think, in the regular season, 30 to 35 maybe. So no point holding on to him. Kyle Kuzma just has to be rostered. He probably was anyway, but just roster him everywhere. Do the Bucks play tonight? Have a look. They do. So we'll get to their roster lineup, that sort of thing, when we get to their game. Let's get into those games as I scroll back up to the first game. All right, Memphis at Indiana for the Grizzlies. Ja Morant returns. Vince Williams returns. Marvin Bagley's available. Not that that means anything, but he's available. With Morant back, Luke Kennard, Scottie Pippen, G.G. Jackson, all probably drops, especially with 9 games. No point holding those guys. Santi Aldama, he's very borderline. We don't need to roster him, but you can. He is probably the preferred streaming target if we look at all of their bench players. Jalen Wells, I'm not holding him. He is starting, but not doing a lot. For the Pacers, Miles Turner returns, which means Thomas Bryant can be dropped. And look, we should have seen this coming. A lot of these injuries, as we've talked about, were just related to the All-Star break. So, yes, we can move on from Thomas Bryant. Nembhard, borderline, I think. Neesmith, no. Mathurin, probably just because of the scoring upside. Shepherd, Toppin, McConnell. Look, McConnell, I guess, is always going to be viewed as an assists and steals streamer, but he hasn't really been playing enough, so I don't think we need to have him at the top of any lists. Boston head to Philly for the Celtics. Drew Holiday, Jaylen Brown, both off the injury report. So we know the drill here. Peyton Pritchard is our streamer. Don't need to roster him. He's been fine, but certainly not the player he was earlier in the season. And Al Horford, who actually was playing pretty well coming into the break. I don't think we need to be holding him either. For the Sixers, Maxey, Paul George, and Embiid will all play. So that, look, it takes the shine off someone like Kelly Oubre, but I still think we need to roster him. Quentin Grimes, I would also be rostering him. Justin Edwards is out for at least 2 games. So Grimes is going to play 30-plus minutes easily. Look, if you look at this pecking order, he's arguably, 3rd at best, probably 4th or even 5th. So there's going to be a lot of mouths to feed here when they're healthy. But Grimes has looked pretty good, and I think will play a significant role for them down the stretch. Cleveland at Brooklyn for the Cavs, with their starters all healthy. We know we're rostering Allen, Mobley, Mitchell, Garland, Strus, and Hunter are both back-end pickups, streamers, maybe. Hunter is points alone. Even as a 35-minute-a-night guy, he's sort of top 120. So in 25 to 28 minutes, he's outside that range. But again, the points do give him a bump. Points are hard to find, so someone who can consistently get you 15 plus points is, they're probably almost worth holding on to. For the Nets, so no Cam Thomas, probably still a game or two until he's back. He will be very limited, managed, all that sort of stuff. I think he's worth stashing still, but don't expect 35 minutes a night, playing every night, anything like that. We've already seen with Cam Johnson that he is playing 28 minutes a night. Zaya Williams, Keon Johnson, D'Angelo Russell, Jalen Wilson, Trendon Watford, Tyrese Martin, Killian Hayes is there now, just another name to throw into that bucket. All of those guys are tough to trust. Claxton has been playing well. I'd probably trust him to some degree. Cam Johnson as well. Dayron Sharp, I'm still stashing him in a couple of spots, waiting. I don't know whether my patience will pay off or not, but he's doing just enough in 20 minutes to actually hold some standalone value as well. Chicago at New York for the Bulls. Lonzo Ball returns after he missed a few games, I think. Injury, management, illness. He is back. We will assume that he is going to start. They may bring him off the bench with Dosunmu starting. I think he plays 26 minutes, 27 minutes, whether there's a little bit of a ramp up here due to just not having played for a couple of weeks. So I think we're probably rostering him. Same goes for Dosunmu. They're both sort of top 100-ish. I'd have Buzelis over both of them just because I think his trajectory is more of a positive than those two. For the Knicks, no Josh Hart. Mitchell Robinson getting closer, but still not cleared. OG Anunoby is questionable. So hopefully he didn't drop Precious Achiuwa. He will play significant minutes with Hart out. If Anunoby is out as well, they probably bring McBride in. Yeah, I think that's probably what they do. It could be campaign, I suppose. And McBride would be the guy I'd look at. Again, 9 games. I'm not sure I'm that interested in him, but make sure Achiuwa is rostered. Make sure he wasn't dropped anywhere when it was, because the OG news actually came out before the Josh Hart news. So people may have gone, okay, he's done, drop him. Orlando at Atlanta for the Magic. Still no Jalen Suggs. He is doing stuff, but still, yeah, look, I think he was questionable rather than doubtful. I guess that can be viewed as a positive, but not back yet. So Cole Anthony and Anthony Black both have some appeal. Look, it's hit or miss. Whichever one you go with, the other one will probably perform. So you can take a fly. I think I've got Black in one league. Watching Badadze, let's see what his minutes, what does his role look like here. He's had some rest. We need him to get back up to 26, I think, 28 minutes to make him must roster. If he's only playing minutes in the low 20s, he's pretty tough to hold, I think. For the Hawks, Trae Young, probable. Larry Nance, we know he's done for not the season, but a significant portion of the season. Mohamed Gay has been starting, not really playing enough, though. He's intriguing, but the 15, 20 minutes is not enough for him. Levert, someone we want to have a look at. Likewise, George Niang, who's been playing quite well since the trade. So I think I'd rather even both of those guys over Ricochet, despite the fact that he's starting. I just think they have a little bit more upside at the moment. So have a look if they're floating around. They could well be. Clippers at Milwaukee. For the Clippers, Norm Powell is questionable. Kawhi Leonard will play. If Norm Powell is out, it's probably Derek Jones that just comes straight in as a starter here. Have a look at Ben Simmons. If Powell is out, there's probably more minutes for Simmons. It'd be good to get a good look at what his role is going to be when they're healthy. We haven't seen it yet. We may not see it tonight. I picked him up in one league, just looking for some steals and rebounds. We'll see. 25 minutes would be enough, I think, for him. He's probably quite motivated at the moment, which is good. Derek Jones, if he does start, can be a deeper league option, I think. Chris Dunn, if you need steals. For the Bucks, no Bobby Portis, as we talked about off the top or at the top of the show. He wasn't starting anyway. Giannis is questionable with this ongoing calf injury. Dame is also questionable. So there's a few moving pieces here. If Giannis is out, they probably go Taurean Prince. I don't think Jericho Sims is there now. I don't think they'd want to roll him out alongside Lopez. You never know. Taurean Prince he needs about 80 minutes to have value usually, so I wouldn't really be interested in him. Gary Trent might play a bit more. AJ Green might play a bit more. They're both just really 3-point streamers though. So even despite Portis, who is a significant part of this rotation, being out for the rest of the season, there isn't really a clear ad here because their season has not been fluent. It's not been consistent. So when Giannis is healthy, when Dame is healthy, when Lopez is healthy, when Kuzma is healthy, we're rostering those four, and then it's just going to be a mix-up of a whole heap of other guys. Oh, what happened there? All right, Charlotte at Denver. Charlotte, as suspected, will be without LaMelo Ball and Nick Richards. Mark Williams, both out on the second night of a back-to-back, which is why I picked up Nick Smith. He'll do hopefully a little bit more tonight. With Williams out, does Nurkic start? Does Diabate start? I actually think that Diabate might start if they want to just keep Nurkic in that 20-minute backup role. Or is this going to be like a more traditional situation where everyone just moves up in the rotation? I'm not sure what they'll do. I think both are probably worth a look tonight. If you have streaming capability and you are looking for rebounds and some defensive stuff. Obviously, Nurkic doesn't have a lot of defensive upside. But I think both are okay. Elfrid Payton will probably start. I'd rather them to start KJ Simpson, given he's part of their future and Elfrid Payton probably isn't. If we get word that KJ is going to start, you could give him a look as well, especially in deeper leagues, but even standards as a flyer. For the Nuggets, Russell Westbrook returns. Look, he'd probably be limited. His return makes Julian Strather a drop, I think. Aaron Gordon wasn't a must-roster player anyway, and probably the biggest talking point from this game will be what does Christian Brown's role look like with Westbrook back? Because he was trending towards a drop in a lot of leagues, and then Westbrook got injured and Christian Brown has played very well. So with Westbrook back, with Aaron Gordon healthy, well, relatively healthy, where does Christian Brown fit? What do his minutes look like? And does he trend in that wrong direction again? All right, Phoenix at San Antonio. Phoenix also relatively healthy. Bol, he was playing very well coming into the break. I think we still add him and just see what happens. I'm not convinced that it sticks. I've talked about the fact that I don't trust him. Beal has been out. Grayson Allen has been out. They obviously don't play the same positions as Bol, but they are two 25-plus minute per night players. So that's 50 minutes which weren't there. They're not going to take them from KD. They're not going to take them from Booker. So they're going to have to come from Bol, Nick Richards, Tyus Jones. Bol, probably he sort of needs 26, 28 minutes, I think. If he's only getting 20, it's going to be hard to trust him. For the Spurs, So we'll wait to see what their starting lineup looks like. I talked about Bassi, excuse me, Bassi being the ad if you can put him in an IR spot. Jeremy Sohan could very well start. As I said, Mamu Kelishvili is not really a centre, but he's going to have to play some centre. 25 minutes a night, is that enough? Look, take a flyer, I guess. I like Mamu Kelishvili more just because I think he's got a cool name. And yeah, we'll see. He's going to get a bit of an opportunity here. So we probably get 1 to 2 weeks of not starter level minutes, but close to. Steph Castle, make sure he is rostered. Sohan, make sure he wasn't dropped anywhere. Look, Barnes, maybe he plays a little bit more, but he's not really someone we're prioritising. I'd like to see Vassell step up here. He's been pretty bad the last few weeks with no Wemby. There's an opportunity for him to do more on the offensive end. So hopefully if you have Vassell, I'd try to preach that he's old. It's been hard. Hopefully this helps him. And Keldon Johnson, he's just not great. So, but I mean, if they don't want to be great, maybe they do just roll him out there. And the final game of the night, the Lakers at Portland. So interestingly here for the Lakers, I'm not surprised Vanderbilt's out. That's not surprising. I'm not surprised LeBron James is questionable. I am a little bit surprised that Luka is questionable. I talk about the fact that these guys, if they are being managed through soft tissue injuries, that means they're not given the full time to recover. If you've recovered, you should just be able to play. They talked about yesterday or last night that his minutes restriction was lifted. He was 100% good to go. Now he's out. I'm not saying that this is that he's aggravated it or anything like that, but the narrative is very weird. Saying that someone's 100% healthy and then sitting them after you lose to Charlotte is in a game where Luka, I mean, look, I know he's missed time, but he doesn't look 100% or close to it at the moment. I've no doubt he will get there, but at the moment he doesn't. If LeBron is out as well, Austin Reeves should have a really good night. He was ejected last night, which was a bit of a downer, but should be better here. Jackson Hayes, yeah, I mean, this is a good matchup for him coming up against Donovan Clingan. They're going to need some size, so both he and Len should be out there if they want to keep this game competitive. They probably won't go small as much, but we'll see. It depends who's dictating the game. Rui Hachimura, if you need points, is worth a look tonight. And yeah, Gabe Vincent plays more. I'm not looking at him or Dalton Connect. For the Blazers, Scoot Henderson, Jeremy Grant, Robert Williams, all questionable. Scoot, I'm stashing him where I can. Clingan, obviously must roster player. Rob Williams, if he was getting to 20 minutes, 22 minutes, I'd probably say he's someone we want to hold. Clingan is unlikely to play 30 minutes every night. So there is a window there for Robert Williams, but we know his health issues and things like that. So tough to view him as anything more than a streamer when the schedule is favourable. And like I said, Scoot, stash him, add him, pick him up, whatever you want to do. I do think we get to a point where he's starting, but we're maybe not there yet, given that they were playing well and trying heading into the break. I don't know what their path is going to be now, but we'll find out over the next week. All right, let's get to some quick questions before I start work. Is Sohan an ad above IO, Pods, and Denny? Well, it depends what you need. Sohan is going to be rebounds. He is a very good rebounder. He will be better than all three of those guys in rebounding, I think. Defensive stats, he's sort of probably on par with those guys, maybe slightly above. He's in that discussion, I think. So if he fits what you're looking for, I think that's okay. Galahad asks, do I like adding Sandro by dropping Musa? Tonight, maybe not. I mean, wait to see what the Charlotte starting lineup looks like. I think Musa probably plays like 25 minutes tonight, which is probably what Sandro is going to play. Long term, I guess that sort of makes sense for the next couple of weeks. Yeah, I think we're okay. Do I see KJ Martin getting enough minutes to be 14-team relevant in March? At this point, no. Maybe. We've seen KJ Martin as a starter before. He's very borderline anyway. James Maglino? Not sure how to pronounce that one. Just lost Wemby. Number 2. I'm at number 2 approaching the playoffs. 12-team 9-cat. Thinking of trading Donovan Mitchell for Onyeka Okongwu, Austin Reeves, or Poole to cushion the impact and get better depth. Oh, look, it's not too bad. I probably wouldn't trade for Poole just because the Wizards, we don't know what they're going to do in March. Donovan Mitchell for Onyeka Okongwu and Austin Reeves. Look, I think it's a fair trade. You're obviously giving up the best player. But if you're just looking at purely getting some depth, then I don't think it's terrible. Dropped Klingon and Saar. I'm assuming this is for Lopez and Sohan. Do I think that is a good move? Lopez and Sohan have better schedules. Lopez, yeah. I'd probably have Lopez over Saar, I guess. Yeah, I'm not that high on Lopez. Haven't been for years. Look, I think that's okay. Yeah, that's fine. I think in your league, Klingon's probably the guy I'd want out of those 4. Just I think he has the most upside. But yeah, the Wemby injury obviously helps Sohan. And is Castle an up? Is he trending up? Yeah, I think he probably will. There'll be more minutes there to go around. Does Wemby's injury boost Keldon Johnson and Julian Champagny enough to be adds in deeper leagues? Deeper leagues, you could take a flyer on them and see. We don't know what the Spurs are going to do here, so there is an opportunity. Keldon Johnson obviously makes more sense because he is more of a power forward, so just their roles are more similar. So yeah, deeper leagues, I think you could take a flyer there and just give it 2 or 3 games. Chad, who do I like at the 5 for the Spurs tonight for DFS? Went Sandro, so he took Barnes. Probably Sandro, I think. Barnes is Barnes. So, yeah, I think probably Sandro there. The wording is weird that Luka is being held out on medical advice. Yeah, I'm not saying it's shady. It's just weird. Galahad have Jonathan Kuminga and Cam Thomas both coming off IL. Should I leave both on IL until you see what their roles are? I think you could. I think you could leave them on there for at least a game, depending on when they come back. If it's a night when we have a lot of games, then absolutely I would. If it's a low volume night, it's a little bit trickier because you really just want bodies on the floor. But yeah, I would. Look, I think Cam Thomas, as I said, he's not going to play back-to-backs. Kuminga might. Both will be on a minutes restriction. Cam Thomas's could last the whole season. Kuminga will ramp up. They need him to. So I'd be more hesitant to just roll Cam Thomas out there, have a look at the schedule and that sort of thing before you do so. Jared, what's your question? Before the break, you were able to stash some guys and now need to make moves with guys coming back. Who would I drop in a points league? Castle, Eason, Christie, Buzelis, Westbrook, Beal. In a points league. Could be Eason. Jabari Smith is back tomorrow. Fred VanVleet is questionable tomorrow. So Eason may only play 22, 24 minutes. Castle, I'm just interested to see what his role looks like, so I wouldn't be dropping him yet. He could be a drop, but not yet. Christie, I mean, he's going to play big minutes for Dallas. Buzelis, Westbrook, Beal. Yeah, look, it's probably not Castle. It's probably not. Oh, it's probably not Beal. Westbrook's interesting. I'm curious to see how he comes back from this injury. He was very good leading into it, but we've seen the last 3 years have been pretty down. So he could be a drop. We could get to that point. And they may be cautious with him as well. So maybe it's Westbrook. Buzelis he's a bit risky. I don't know. It's probably Eason and maybe Westbrook. Yeah. I can't believe you're asking this either, Galahad. Is Torian Prince a must-add? No, I don't think he's a must-add. You could, if you want to take a chance on him, go ahead. But we've seen Torian Prince for years. I don't think you need to. Who has better rest of season, Rui or AG? Ugh. In a 12 team, I don't think you have to have either of them. It's probably Aaron Gordon. Just Shining Knight. All is well enough. Yeah. Well, I'm here. I'm sore, but I'm here. What are Sohan questions? Sohan over Buzelis, Beal, Sarr. Got to drop to. Yes, I think so. Sarr is interesting. He's blocks only, really. So if you don't need blocks, get rid of Sarr. I'd have those other three over him if you don't need blocks. If you do need blocks, then keep Sarr. I think, again, they're probably in a similar range, top 100-ish. What do I think of Kyrie playing for Australia? I would love it. It's sounding like it may not happen. It does seem so far in the future, but it's only 3 years. Yeah, look, he'll obviously be older at that point, but still very good. Yeah, so I would love for Kyrie to come and play for Australia. Okay, so Chad is saying we might need to look at Bismack tonight. Yeah, look, he's on a 10-day. He's very limited. Is it his Elfrid Payton game? Maybe. There's a reason Bismack and Elfrid Payton and these guys haven't been in the league. They're just not great. Bismack has basically zero offensive upside, but he's a good rebounder. He can be a good shot blocker. So again, flyer, very deep flyer. Go ahead. Any Aussie prospects I'm excited about? Dash Daniels. Yeah, I've talked about Dash on a couple of shows. Apparently he was in Golden State or in Oakland, wherever, for the All-Star. They do some Basketball Without Borders kind of showcase things, and he was there. I've seen him. He's playing here in our National League next year. He's actually based here where I live, in Canberra, playing for the NBA Academy, Institute of Sport, all of those teams. So I've seen him play. He looks a lot like Dyson, but has more offensive upside, I think. So yeah, curious to see. I actually sat next to him on a plane coming back from Melbourne. Good guy as well. So I got to have a small chat with him. Wasn't much, but yeah, seems like a nice guy, much like his brother. All right, I don't know if I'm going to get through all of these because I do have to go and start work now. Let's just have a look. Which of these two would I drop to activate IR and for stream spot? Jose Pods, Tari Bilal. Who would I drop? Oh. I don't know. It might be Tari. I've talked about what I think his role might be. It's tricky. I don't know. I mean, if you have to drop 2, maybe it's could be Jose as well. I mean, what's his role? His role's been inconsistent. Pods, we don't know what his role will look like when Kuminga. There's question marks for all of these guys. I would have a look at stats that you need. All right, I'm just going to fly through some very quickly because I do need to go. Do I see Anthony Simons as a potential shutdown? Possibly, yes. We know that the Blazers will do that. Do I see LaMelo playing back-to-backs rest of season? No, I don't. What's Klingon's upside? Probably top 50, but his value comes from 2 categories only, rebounds and blocks. So he is one of those players where the rank probably doesn't reflect his overall value. Where do I value a men moving forward with these guys coming back? Hopefully top 50. He's not going to be top 30, top 20 like he's been, I don't think. But hopefully they play him enough that he can be a top 50 player. Malik Monk or Jordan Poole? I'd go Malik Monk. Is Precious a drop with Mitch Robb back? No, I don't think so. All right, that will do. I need to go. Things to do. No, I don't have people to see or places to go because I can't. But I have work to do. I will be back with a post-game show later today. What else am I going to be doing? Nothing. Thank you, everyone, for listening. Go and download and like and subscribe and do all of that stuff. I'm Adam King. This has been the Balls Deep pregame show. Until next time, catch ya.
You just listened to another episode from the Fantasy Basketball International Podcast Network. Thanks for joining us. And for more information about joining our community, please check out our website at fbibasketball.com.